Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
First, let's all give all honor, glory, and praise to the supreme power of all that is in existence. The Elohim of our forefathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Secondly, we will give all due respect to our leader, Nasi Yashua, and the moon, to all the chief men, to all of the other dignitaries, mothers, the children, I bid you in the eighth term of our forefathers. Shabbat, shalom, shalom alaikum.
Shabbat, shalom, shalom, Allah.
How was everybody's week?
Great.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right, we're going to start off the this week with the reading as we do every week. And we'll start off with Shemot 20 or Exodus chapter 20. Let's all say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And it says, I am Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. You shall not have no other money was before me. You shall not make yourself an idol, nor any image of anything that is in the heavens above, or that what is in the earth beneath, or what is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, your Elohim, the jealous power. Visit the iniquity on the fathers of the children, of the third and the fourth generation of those who hate me, and showing loving kindness to thousands of generations of those who love me and keep my commands. You shall not take the name of the Most High your power in vain, for the Most High will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. And you shall labor 6 days and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Most High your power. You shall not do any work therein, not you, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, your maidservant, the cattle, nor the stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Most High made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and he rested on the seventh day. Therefore, on the seventh, therefore, the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Honor your father and your mother, so your days will belong in the land that the Most High your Elohim gives you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not cover your neighbor's house, your neighbor's wife, his manservant, his maidservant, his ox, his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Let's go to Psalms 92, or Psalms for the Sabbath day. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It is good to give thanks to the Most High, and to sing praise to your name, O Most High, to declare your kindness in the morning and your trustworthiness each night, on 10 strings and on the harp, to the sounding chords of a lyre, for you have made me rejoice at your works. Oh yeah, I shout for joy at the works of your hands. Oh yeah, how great are your works! Your thoughts are very deep. A senseless man does not know, nor does a fool understand this. And when the wrong spring up like grass and all workers of wickedness blossom, it is for them to be destroyed forever. But you, Yah, are on high forever. For look, your enemies, O Yah, for look, your enemies do perish, and all workers of wickedness are scattered. But you lift up in my horn of that of a wild ox, and I have been anointed with fresh oil. And my eyes look upon my enemies, and my ears hear the evildoers who rise up against you. And the righteous shall flourish like a palm tree, and he will grow like a cedar in Lebanon. And those who are planted in the house of God flourish in the courts of our Elohim. And they will still bring fruit forth in an old age. And then we full of sap and green to show that Yah is upright. He is my rock, and in him there is no unrighteousness. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Psalms 124. Let us all say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Had it not been for Yah who was on our side, then each now I'll say. Had it not been for Yah who was on our side when men rose up against us, and they would have swallowed us alive in their burning rage against us. Then the waters would have overwhelmed us, and the streams would have gone over our being, and the proud waters would have gone over our being. And blessed be Yah who did not give us prey to their teeth. Our being has escaped like that of the birds of the snares of the trappers, and the snare was broken, and we have escaped. And our help is in the name of Yah, maker of heaven and earth. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Psalms 125. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Those who trust in Yah are like Mount Zion. It is not shaken, and it remains forever. As the mountains surround Yerushalayim, so Yah surrounds his people now and forever. For the scepter of wrongness shall not rest on the land allotted to the righteous, lest forth the righteous stretch forth their hands to unrighteousness. Do good, O Yah, to those who are good, and to those who are upright in their hearts. For those who turn aside to their crooked ways, Yah shall lead them away with the workers of wickedness. Peace be upon Yisrael. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Devarim chapter 6 and verse 4. Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Shema Yisrael, Yehovah Elohim, Yehovah Echad. And you shall love Yehovah Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be upon your heart. And you shall teach them diligently to your children. And you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign in your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, and it shall be when Yah Elohim brings you to the land which you swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, to Yaakov, to give you great and good cities which you do not build, and houses full of all kinds of goods which you do not fill, wells dug out which you do not dig, vineyards of olive trees which you do not plant, and you shall eat and be satisfied. Be on guard, lest you forget Yah who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, of the house of bondage. Fear Yah Elohim and serve him and swear by his name. Him you shall serve, and by his name you shall swear. And do not go after other mighty ones, and the mighty ones of the people that are all around you. For Yah Elohim is a jealous power in your midst. Unless the displeasure of Yah Elohim burn against you, he destroy you from the face of the earth. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And as I do every week, the proverb of the day today is the 19th according to the Gregorian calendar. So we will go to Proverbs 19. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Better is the poor walking in his integrity than one of perverse lips who is a fool. Also desire without knowledge is not good, and he who hurries with his feet sins. The foolishness of man perverts his way, and his heart is wroth against Yah. Wealth adds many friends, but the poor is separated from his friend. A false witness does not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies does not escape. Many entreat the favor of the noble, and all the friends to him who gives gifts. All the brothers of the poor shall hate him. How much more shall his friends go far from him? He pursues promises, they are gone. He who gets hearts loves his own life, and he who guards understanding finds good. A false witness does not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies perishes. Luxury is not fitting for a fool, much less for a servant to rule over princes. And man's discretion makes him patient, and his adorning is to pass over transgression. The sovereign's wrath is like a roaring of a lion, but his delight is like dew on the grass. A foolish son is a calamity to his father, and the contentions of a wife are continual dripping. Houses and riches are the inheritance from fathers, but the understanding wife is from Yah. Laziness makes one fall into a deep sleep, and an idle being suffers hunger. He who guards the command guards his life, and he who despises his way dies. He who shows favor to the poor lends to the Most High, and he who repays his deed. Discipline your son because there is expectation, and do not set your being on his destruction. One of great wrath bears punishment, for if you rescue him, you only have to do it again. Listen to counsel and accept discipline, so that you are wise in your latter end. Many are the plans in this man's heart, but it is the counsel of God that stands. What is desirable in a man in his kindness, and a poor man is better than a liar. The fear of Yah leads to life, and he remains satisfied. He is not visited by evil. The lazy one buries his hand in a dish, and does not bring it back forth to his mouth. But be a scoffer, and the simple is made wise. And reproof one who has understanding, and he discerns knowledge. He who plunders the father chases away his mother. Is a son causing shame and bringing reproach? Cease, my son, to hear discipline, and you shall stray from the words of knowledge. The witness about Yah scorns right ruling, and the mouth of the wrong does devour wickedness. Judgments are in store for scoffers, and beatings for the backs of fools. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right, at this juncture, I will call up Asael, who will bring forth our praise and worship service. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen. Blessed be the name of the Shabbat. Blessed be the joy and the blessed be the When you wake up in the morning and it's raining in your home, feel like you can't take it before you even start. The world is wrapped in darkness, you cannot see the light. All your situations Fingers spread, and it's weak. How you Here are we, because of thy goodness. By the rivers of Babylon, yeah, we stand down and we cry. When we remember Jerusalem, we must take the hands and cry.
Hallelujah.
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 All praise and worship to the Supreme Intellect of the Universe, Yahweh, forefathers, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. Thank you, worship, keep blessing us, allowing us to make it to another Sabbath day. We're about to get into the reading of the Torah, which is very imperative to our existence. Hold on a second. Hallelujah. So we asked that our drummer stay there. Everybody got the words for the HaTorah. I said sing HaTorah. Whereby shall we turn unto thee, in our hearts oh, how can we draw closer to each other in the spirit to practice is the only way
Hallelujah.
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 Let's be the Supreme Intellect of the Universe. We thank the Almighty for allowing us to open up the Torah portion. It's such a beautiful thing to be called up here to read the Torah. And we're going to start to progress in different areas. We're taking our Hebrew serious. I see on the Baruch Psalm and definitely at our house we're going into the Hebrew language in order to strengthen us. And we're in the place where we're about to transition into the land. So we will be having services on the land. in order for us to get a feel for the land, you know? Like we're gonna make that our heart and our soul. We're gonna put a spirit there. And how much so if we could do it on the Sabbath and praise the mighty King in the area that we own, in the area that we love, and we give credence to him for. So we thank the Almighty for all our transitional periods, and we thank you for allowing us to be in a place where Torah is going to be strong. We're going to go through the readings today. And if you'd like to be called up next week for the Torah portion, pull me to the side, say I'd like to be called up. And we'll make it happen. We'll tell you what you need to do, and we'll tell you how to go about doing it. This week's Torah's portion is in the book of Deuteronomy. Anybody know what chapter?
Starting in 11.
Chapter 11. We're going to start 11. And the portion is called what? Re'eh. Hallelujah. All right. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Nick Ryan, Adon Nasi Yeshua, Ben Chief Principal, Ben Zabulon. Ani Ko Baruch Hashem Shel Yehovah.
Baruch Yehovah Yom Yom. Baruch Yehovah Tamid. Ubaruch Abba Shomrey HaTorah.
Yehovah Im Kim. Ugatana Lim Ugatana Mashem Kamanum Kamanum Katanu to the Tobu Katanu to the TORAH.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Ro'eh. Anoki noten lefaneka hayom baruch ha-kwalala. Et baruchah asher tishmehu el motzot matzot Yehovah Elohim asher anoki letzot et kim hayom. Hallelujah.
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 Next reader. We say Nikra'et, so it means we will call up. Nikra'et will call up the. Nikra'et, Ha'adon, Seren, Asa, Baruch, Ben Levi, Ben Yisrael.
Baruch Hashem Shel Yehovah.
Baruch Yehovah Yom Yom, Baruch Yehovah Tamid, Ubaruch Abba Nikra'et HaTorah.
Adonai Kim.
Baruch Adonai Habarak Lenuaye.
ברוך אתה ה' מלך העולם אשר בחר בנו כאן האמין ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה ה' נותן התורה. אמן.
Hallelujah.
והיה המקום אשר יבחר אדוני אלוהיכם בו לשכן שמו שם שמע הביוב את קהל אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם עולותיכם ועזב לכם מה צרותיכם ותרומת ידכם וכל מבחר נדחריכם אשר תבחרו ליום ושמחתם לפני יהוה אלוהיכם אתם Uvnotechem, where are the him, where Hontechem, Uhaleo, Uhalewi, Asher, Besa'arekem, he ein lo chelek una chala itkem. Ya, baru kata Elohim melech haolam, asher natan lamu Torat emet hayi haolam natalotehinu, baru kata Adonai noten HaTorah. Amen.
Amen.
Nikrayet Adon Hagibor Shemuel ben Binyamin ben Israel.
And the poor Baruch, Hashem said, Yehovah.
Baruch Yehovah Yom Yom, Baruch Yehovah Tami, Baruch Abba Nikrayet HaTorah.
Yehovah and him.
Yibaraka Yehovah.
Okuwe, Yehovah, Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Elohim.
Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech hanem asher da'ar benu mekel hamim v'natan lenu et toratu. Baruch atah Yehovah noten HaTorah.
Yeah.
Benim atem Yahweh Elohim lo tedgadedu v'lo tasimu Kwaraha ben Inkim Lamet Ki Am Kwakawas Atah Yehovah Eloheka Ubeka Behar Yehovah Leyot Lo Leam Sigala Mikol Ha'amim Asir Al Pene Hadama Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lenu toratu amet haya olam nata betekenu. Baruch atah Yehovah noten HaTorah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Nikra et Na'ar Asel bin Nasi Yashuba bin Zabulu bin Israel. Baruch Yehovah Yom Yom, Baruch Yehovah Tami, Baruch Abba Nikrayet HaTorah. Yibaraka Yehovah. Baruch Adonai Baruch Elohim.
Amen.
Aser Yasar et Kal Yahuwah Za'el HaYozei HaSedeh Shina Wa'akalta Bifnei Adonai Eloheka Ma'om Asher Yivchar L'shaken Shemo Shem Malsar the Gan Ka Der Groß, da, wo Yitzhak, Hareta, Ukor, Ukorot, Barta, Uzonekta, Lema'an, Tilmar, Yir'ah, Et Adonai Eloheka, Kal Hayami.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Look at that, I'm going to go on my show, call me, my time to the TORAH. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Nick Wright, Azariah ben Nasi Yeshua ben Yisrael. Baruch Yehovah Yom Yom.
Baruch Yehovah
Tami. Ubaruch Abba Nick Wright HaTorah.
Adonai Imkan.
Yibalek Adonai. Baruch Atah Elohim Lekolah.
Okata. Adonai Lekolah. Asher Batan Elohim Kaemet. Bahaya Hawa Vatican. TORAH.
Yeah.
Request Sebas Samin Ta'ase Semita Waze Debar Ase Mita Samot Ka Ba'a Mase Yado Hase Yase Erehu Lo Ikwe Et Rehu Wa Et I Haweke Ba'a Semita Adonai. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch Atah Elohim Lekolah. Yeah. Yeah. Johanna? Is Johanna? I'll read. Yeah. Take right. Adonai Yeshua ben chief principal of Israel. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Ani po Baruch Hashem y'all.
Baruch Yehovah Tami. Baruch Abba.
Yo, Inkim. Baruch nama Baruch Atah Allah Lekolah Moshe B'Kol When I tell them to the two, Baruch Atah Elohim TORAH.
Amen.
Yeah. Kwa Bekorashir, Yoled, Bekwarega, Berkarega, U, Zanega, Kaskar, Ta Kwichi, Le Adonai, Eloheka, Lo, Tiavod, Bebekor, Shoreka, Lo, Tabuz, Bekor, Zaneka, Lefne, Yehovah, Eloheka, Tekolanenu, Shinam, Bemakum, Asher, Yikor, Yehovah, Atah, Bene, Beteka, Amiyah.
Hallelujah.
Ugata na mungu kwa mshirika kama mungu kwa mungu. Ugata na mtu na tobu, ugata na mtu na TORAH. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Right. Next reader. Some of you don't have it up here. But Nick Ra'et, Lasika Atara, Ishet Nasi Hashiva, Ben Zabul Ben Yisrael. Baruch Yehovah Yom Yom, Baruch Yehovah Tami, Baruch
Abba.
Nick Ra'et HaTorah.
Yehovah Imkan.
Yibalek Yehovah. Baruch Adonai Raklan Waye.
Adonai, Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher b'chalanu, b'chal ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, v'hu katah lanu et Torah. Aniya so'ana lo nukama. Hine ani anoki mabit bafu abanai seka. Vesati basafarim. Veshanti karko shimshot tayi. Ushai be'avne ekda. Bekal ebule be'avne kefetz. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Berkata Adonai, Eloheinu, melech haolam. Asher b'chalanu b'chal ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, v'hu katah lanu et Torah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So it's beautiful. We just finished the Torah portion. Everybody may be seated. This tradition comes from Ezra and Nehemiah when we stand during the reading of the Torah. You see this in scriptures. We have a speaker today, which is our beloved Sharon Asa, a beautiful person. While he's setting up, I want to call up an elder to give us a brief words today. One of our elders in the midst today, and he has word for a time to speak to us. So if we ask him to give us a brief word, we call up Adon, Prince Zebekiah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You may be seated. You know, first I got to give honor to the God of our forefathers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob. I came here today. I was traveling around, and I began to think about some things about us as a nation and how we're being represented and how people see Israel. I realized that we've all come from different walks. We've learned to become Israelites from different trends of thought, different teachers. But one thing we have to begin to do, we have to begin to really recognize that we all come from different walks, and that we're one family. We've been having problems in the past because we can't see, or we haven't been able to see that, how valuable that is. It makes us be the family that we are. We're all Hashem's children, the Creator's children. And because of those factors, we have to make a representation today, particularly to the world. We look around us and see how the world's going. We don't know the day tomorrow that between China or between Korea and the United States, where we might be, except that we're the children of Yah, and Yah promised us once we return unto Him, He will return unto us. So that means no matter where we at, what situation that we're in, this day and time, you represent salvation to the earth. Because we were brought here for what reason? Because we erred against our Father. The punishment that happens here, we've all received, we've all suffered it. And as we begin to wake up and come back to the knowledge of ourselves, we begin to understand that we belong to a power. We're the children of the force that moves the earth. The force that gives breath to each and every one of us and everybody else. And on those thoughts alone, we have to begin to function like a family. I don't, we've had so many differences in opinions, but we're one family. I think back, I came along in Israel a long time ago, and I began to see the differences of congregations, how they function, how they started up. And I have to give credit to the teachers who set out for us, or that I learned from, because they were there. And as a result, here I stand. And in my standing here, if you look around, like I just left a place this morning, and most of the places that we got started after Atlanta, I was involved with. One of them congregations, you name it, you can go there and somebody can tell you they knew me there. Why is that? Not because I left the congregation, because as I went on further, as I was saying last time I spoke in here, I came here, this particular place. Who would have known that Shabbat and us were going to come here to this place? Off the top, nobody thought about that. But the Most High led me and the people I was affiliated with to prepare a place. As when Shomrey HaTorah had started another place, I was there. When Shema started and moved from Lincoln Park and moved into the building they're in now, I was there. Before they got there in the building that they're in, I was there. So I asked myself a question even today. Well, why, Yah, do you have me, being the person that I am, why am I always in situations in the midst of trying to pull people together? And I looked at it and I said to myself, well, is it me? Am I somebody greater than anybody else? But I can remember my mother used to tell me when I was a kid, she seen me in the street. Now, I learned this way of life. Unfortunately, I was in an institution. But I started learning about it. But since then, I've tried to open up doors, and I'm nobody really. But the plan that Yah has us to understand that we are His children, and He's drawing us from all walks. You understand? So, and my words to you today is encourage yourselves to continue on no matter what. No matter what situation you're in, to hold fast and stand and put your faith in the Creator of heaven and earth, because He'll make it happen. If you believe that, it'll happen. So you got to put your trust in that. And as the congregations that have been here, we're going to go on to greater things. Trust me. Put your faith in that. You know, I'm going to work with you. You will work with me. I'm going to work with all the congregations I know. Because I know I have the reality, I understand that who we are as a people. And that's supposed to mean something to our neighbors, to our brothers and sisters who do not have an understanding of who they are. They got to see us communicating together. They got to see us projecting love, another sense of direction. So I give that to you today, asking you to just stand still. Behold the salvation of Yah. Yah's gathering us from all over this earth. And be it is, we are the protection of this land, whether you believe it or not. Think about it. This has been the greatest land that has existed. And they've been fought many wars. The reason why we have been drawn together, because now is the time for a change of hands. Okay? You see, we got an idiot running the government. Huh? Running the whole country. And we are we're here in the midst of it. So what should we represent? So I encourage each and every one of you. Hold fast. Look at your brothers and sisters in a new light. Not in the old way, well, who has this and who don't have this. But you need each other. And you got to know that. So with that, turn the service back over to my brother.
Hallelujah. I love to see the elders come up here and give their words of wisdom. We try to do a cartwheel up the meeting. Hallelujah. Blessed be the merciful King for blessing us and allowing us to make it to another Sabbath day. And I ask that you all stand for our teacher who's going to bring a presentation. You know, we got the red pill, blue pill thing going on. Our beloved brother who, you know, in many aspects, you always have a drive to make sure that we are fundamentally sound and we're doing things we should, you know. And I give him respect and I love him for that. And this is why I put so much value into the brother. And I pray that the Most High continue to bless him and his family, you know, and just set an example on certain things that should be done in some aspects of his walk. You know, I see pictures of y'all studying Hebrew together. These things are beautiful. A family that studies together is going to be stronger together. So these are the things that we ask that the Almighty influence all of us to do the same and work and build and build and build. But I wanted to call him up today to bring forth a portion, which he said, you know, let me get this portion. And I'm willing to give any portion to anybody because it gives me a time off, you know. So I thank the Almighty for blessing my dear brother, Sarah and Asa. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It's a beautiful day.
Yes, it is.
First, I want to give honor and glory and praise to the supreme power of all that is in existence. The Elohim of our forefathers, the Elohim of our Yitzchak, Yaakov. Secondly, giving due respect to our Lady Nasi Yashua governments of Rome, as well as all the dignitaries here today, the elders. I bid you in the ancient term of our forefathers. Shabbat, shalom, shalom aleichem.
Shabbat, shalom, shalom, Makai.
I know I asked it earlier, but there were some people that weren't here, so I'm asking again, how was everybody's week?
Great.
Hallelujah. I want to send a special shout out to our Elder Yosef, for being here today. I know he's been gone for a little while. I know he hasn't been feeling too well. But we got to give praise to the Almighty because that's a powerful man. And I want you to know that his faith in the Creator is what allows him to continue to keep moving forward each day in and day out. And we have to show due honor to our elders. Prince Nat was talking about that earlier today at Shema, on how we have to show honor to our elders. It's not about following the man. We're not following no one. But you do give honor and respect because it says to rise for the Horeh and for the Zakim, for the knowledgeable ones. So these are the people that we give our reverence to in our earthly situations. And what they have as elders that we don't have as some of the younger generation is a thing called life experience. Life experience, my mom always told me, was your best teachers. And these individuals that have been around for 50, 60, 70 plus are the people that we need to come to about life. I'm 33 years old, thank you Most High. And Elder is old enough to be my grandfather. And I haven't lived life like he has. And not to say that he's been through more things or worse or better or whatever, because I've been through some things and that we can relate, and there's some things that we probably can't. But for the most part, he's lived life a lot longer than I have, and I have to give that due honor and respect. Hallelujah. So it's good to see you, Elder. All right. Hallelujah. Now, today's portion is her aim. And it's funny because last night's conversation that we had for Shabbat kind of tied into what I needed. And so, you know, I hope that some toes ain't stepped on, and I hope that some are taken with love and understanding. And the way I look at the Torah is not like a lot of people. Now, I always teach this, that there is only but one law, and we should all look at the law the same in the sense of practical matters when it comes to the law. How we look at everything else is a matter of interpretation. And it's up to you. There's no right or wrong way, but the law should be as it is. Hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
So when I look at the Torah, I look at Torah from a psychological perspective. I try to find a way to break it down so that it helps my daily life on my own personal psychological issues that I personally have. All right? So the way that I do, sweetheart, let me get to my portion. All right, so today's portion is the A, which can be found in Devarim chapter 11 and verse 26. Beginning. Here we go. All right, and as I do with every portion, I always start off with a little bit of Hebrew. All right, so the word the A derives from the Hebrew 7200, which is ra'at. It means to see, to look at, to inspect, to perceive, to consider, regard, give attention to, discern. All right. So, would you be so kind to read Devarim chapter 11, starting at verse 26? I'll tell you what's that.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
See, I present before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, that you hearken to the commandments of Hashem, your God, that I command you today. And the curse, if you do not hearken to the commandments of Hashem, your God, and you stray from the path that I command you today, to follow gods of others, that you did not know. And it shall be when Hashem, your God, brings you to the land to which you come to possess it. Then you shall deliver the blessing on Mount Gerizim.
All right, stop right there. Sorry, my bad. All right, now we see, all right, something that the Almighty is doing, which is presenting a choice. Everyone has a choice. Everybody. Okay? All right. And I want to give you the definition of choice, which my man Mishael Yosef gave me when he introduced the Webster's Dictionary for 1828. And it says it's choice. It's a noun. The act of choosing, the voluntary act of selecting or separating from two or more things that which is preferred, or the determination of the mind in preferring one thing to another. The opportunity or power to make a decision. All right. Now, what I wanted to talk about today was the psychology of choice. All right. Now, choice is the purest expression of free will. The freedom to choose allows us to shape our lives exactly. But choice is also difficult because it also represents a sacrifice. Choosing something inherently means giving up something else. All right. Now, I want to paint a picture. This is before we even dive into the portion. I just want to give you a picture about just choice in general when it comes to change. Because most people have a fear when it comes to change. Not just changing who you are as an individual, but also all around change that affects us as a people. All right? So, people are what we call creatures of habit. Can we agree to that? Most people are creatures of habit. They do things over and over the same way, the same mundane type of way. All right? And the reason why they can't get out of that is because of the fact that they have a fear of change. Because people fear what they don't understand, and they hate what they fear. That's why most Christians don't understand our way of life, because it's what? Different to them. Even though they can read in the same book that we read, I can understand why you do the things you do. But it's foreign to them, so they fear it. And because they fear it, they tend to hate it. Okay? All right. All right, let me see here. So now, like I said, I'm going to read about two different kinds of the psychology of choice. It says here, all right? You have, what is choice? The opportunity or power to choose between two or more possibilities, the opportunity or power to make a decision. Now you have choice theory, which is in the study of how decisions get made. The term is coined in the book of the same name by William Glasser, who argued that all choices are made to satisfy 5 basic needs: survival, love, prolonging, power, freedom, and fun. Rational choice thinking, the rational choice theory is a framework used to model social and economic behavior. According to the rational choice theory, individual actors choose whichever option will maximize their interest and provide them with the greatest utility or benefit. So, now we get back to the portion. The Almighty said that He would present the blessings and the curses. That's a choice. Because you can choose to live according to this way of life or not. That's up to you. Okay?
Okay.
All right. All right. So the fact is that we have to. All right. So I'm gonna give you an example. We're gonna look at Esau. All right. Now, with Esau, we'll look at a person who most people would say is evil, right? Or they would say that he was just dealt a bad hand. Okay?
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is that whether you're dealt a bad hand or not, don't you still have a choice to make? So I'm gonna paint this picture, right? Let's go back in time. Let's look at the time where Jacob is making the lentils. And Esau comes in from a hard day of hunting, and he comes in and he says, my brother, please give me some lentils to eat. Now, who's a big brother in the house? Who's older than it? Who has a younger brother? Right? Okay. Would you sell your birthright to your younger brother because you was hungry? Now, normally, I'm going to speak on regular terms. Because let's break down the Torah to its lowest common denominator. Haggy boy, what would you do to your little brother for some food if he decided, well, sell me your birthright? What would you do to him? Yeah. You was hungry, and there's food in the pot, and he ain't gonna give it to you. What are you gonna do? Yeah. See, because I know what my big brother would do. He put me in a cross-faced chicken wing and pick my ribs up until I gave him something to eat. Right? I'm gonna show him some love. Because the fact of the matter is that you're not gonna turn around and tell me that you ain't gonna feed me after I was outside hunting all day and I just brought back some game and you already got food ready. I don't have to cook. Bro, you better get busy and give me a bone. It's time to eat. But the choice he made was to sell his birthright. Now, once again, we can sit here and go to semantics about, well, you know, it states in the scriptures that the younger brother was going to was going to rule over the older brother and all that. Yeah, that's all well and true. And that is truth, because Torah is truth. But at the end of the day, he had a choice. And he chose his fate. He chose to sell his birthright over a bowl of lentils. Now, one of two things. You can turn around and say, well, that was the Almighty's will, which it was. Or you can turn around and say, man, Esau, you went out like a sucker. Because at the end of the day, you're the older one. And everything is from the father's lineage. And we know, right, that Isaac had a special love for his son. Why? Because he was a manly man. And we hold a statute to our sons more so than our daughters, because our sons, we want them to be manly. We want them to turn around and be like, you know what? That's my son right there, the hunter. You know what I mean? The strong, mighty one, the Haggy boys of the world. You know what I mean? Not to say that being faint-hearted is wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, because you can be what? A scholar and be intelligent. There's nothing wrong with that. But most men want their sons to be manly. You know, give me a little noogie and play fight with them. That's what they want. They don't want what we call in America a sissy. Man, I mean a sissy, man. Man up. So those are the type of things that we want. So that's why Isaac had a special love for Esau, but Esau chose a different route. And so you can kind of sympathize with this man because you feel like, well, he was dealt a bad hand. No. Because anybody, right here in America, you can say that we were dealt a bad hand. We're here in captivity, are we not?
Okay.
But guess what? Does Deuteronomy 28 have to apply to you? You choose to allow it to apply to you. You choose to want to subjugate yourself to captivity. We got brothers and sisters that are in Israel, that wear fringes, that keep the Sabbath, that do all these things, and guess what? Have money, that are blessed in the city and blessed in the field. Why? Because they choose not to adhere to the curses. Because once again, it was a choice to give, or a choice to make, rather. The Almighty gave you a choice, and you chose otherwise. And then what ended up happening is, when we came into this country in slave ships, we continued the cycle of slave mentality. We chose not to get out of our own way. Can we agree to that?
Hey.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right, I can go ahead and read.
Hallelujah. It shall be when Hashem your God brings you to the land to which you come to possess it, then you shall deliver the blessing on Mount Gerizim and the curse on Mount Ebal. Are they not on the other side of the Jordan, far in the direction of the sunset, in the land of the Canaanite, that dwells in the plain, far from Gilgal, near the plains of Moreh. For you are crossing the Jordan to come and possess the land that Hashem your God gives you. You shall possess it, and you shall settle in it. You shall be careful to perform all the decrees and ordinances that I present before you today. These are the decrees and the ordinances that you shall observe to perform in the land of Hashem, the God of your forefathers has given you, to possess it all the days that you live in the land. You shall surely utterly destroy all the places where the nations that you are driving away worship their gods, on their high mountains, on their hills, and under every leafy tree. You shall break apart their altars. You shall smash their pillars and their sacred trees. You shall burn in fire and carve their images. You shall cut down. You shall obliterate the names from the place.
All right, hold that thought. Now, can we do that here? Hello?
No.
No. We can't go across to theater across the way and knock down any crosses. We can't go to the churches down. We can't go to the one on National that belongs to Creflo Dollar. I know we would, right? But we can't do that, right? So now we have to play a game of psychological warfare. We have to start thinking differently, okay? At this juncture, our captivity is no longer physical in the sense that we're not in chains, but we are psychologically captured. We are, and the thing, like others just said, it's far more worse to actually be in captivity psychologically than it is physically. See, physically can break your emotions. You can feel like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What is the Almighty going to get this out of me? But when you turn around and you break somebody psychologically, now you mess with their psyche and you mess with their ability to think and choose. Because now that choice is made for them, right? When you turn around, it's like, okay, you're brought to this country in slave ships and they give you a God that they want you to serve. Now our people believe in an individual, okay, and willingly, thank you, Adon, willingly admit to this individual as their savior. And they did not give credence to the Almighty because psychologically this is what they've been embedded with. You understand where I'm coming from? So at this juncture, what we must do now is break this psychological hold that's been upon us. We have to break away everything. Like Morgan was talking about yesterday. He's been so introduced to a lot of wrong religion. Okay? And I understand that. So now at this juncture, we have to turn around and break that away from us, and we have to turn around and do things as the way the Torah states. The law is the law. We cannot turn around and adhere differently when it comes to the law. What it says is what it says. I'm going to give you an example. All right? Now, it states in the scriptures that thou shalt not mix seed. Right? Okay. That means us, if you're a farmer, you cannot take the seed of a kiwi and the seed of a banana and make a koan. Okay? Right? Absolutely not. That's an abomination unto the Creator, right? Okay. Now I got a question for you. But what if a foreigner makes it? Can you eat it then? Now, some may argue that, well, I'm not the one that made it, so technically I can eat it. For me, I would argue against that because the fact of the matter is that if I can't even make it, why would I ingest something that is wrong to make according to the eyes of the Creator? Okay? Same thing with herbs, like it says in the book of Ezekiel that the Almighty created the herbs and the seeds and all these things for your medicine, right? So the moment that I ingest something that is supposed to be beneficial to my body chemically does what it needs to do in order to get rid of whatever ailment happens to be inside my body. For me, this is just for me, not for the ones that, if you don't agree to this, that's fine. But for myself, I can't take something that's a foreign object, okay? And what's being done is alchemy. They have distorted whatever that chemical compound was and gave it to me. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning. For me, I just can't. For the people that can, hey, more power to you. But for myself, psychologically, I want to break away as much as possible from the ways of this nation as I possibly can. And that is how we are going to turn around and help our children. We have to teach them how to do things according to the way they were done in the old days. And you can modernize certain things. I'm not saying that you can't. But if you don't turn around and take away your children from things that they're watching, from the things that they're listening to, this is how they're getting our children. I got a 7-year-old daughter who knows how to whip and nay and all that other junk because of what things that I've seen on TV. Right? But at the same time, if I don't counteract that by teaching her Hebrew and teaching her Torah and teaching her how to be a woman, and my wife also teaching them how to be a woman, teaching my son how to be a righteous individual, then I'm going to lose my children to the ways of this nation. And that's why it says in the book of Zechariah, Zechariah said, do not go into the ways of the nations. I have to turn around and counteract that. If I don't, I'm going to lose my children. If you don't counteract it, for the people that are new parents, if you don't do it, you're going to lose your child to the ways of the nations. And I'm sorry, if King Solomon, who was the greatest, mind of all time, can lose his way, then every one of us in this room is capable of losing our own way. We're not above anybody else. That's the truth. And I know that some of them, I would never turn around. Man, I got a brother of mine who was so gung-ho. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Who was so gung-ho, and now all of a sudden he don't even keep law. So everybody has that capability to lose their way. How do we turn around and counteract that? Our culture, because Torah is our culture. Adhering to our community as a people. Being able to have those heated debates like last night that allows us to grow one as together. Those are the type of things that allow us to become one. Just like Prince was talking about a little while earlier. We have to be a community. If we don't, we're going to lose our way. And most of us adhere to who we are as people, and that's the reason why the Almighty will take care of us in the time of calamity. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You shall not do this to Hashem your God, rather only at the place that Hashem your God will choose from among all the tribes to place his name. There you shall seek out his presence and come there. And there shall you bring your burnt offerings, peace offerings, your tithes, and what you raise up with your hands, and your vow offerings, and your freewill offerings, and the firstborn of the cattle in your flocks. You shall eat there before Hashem your God. You shall rejoice with your every undertakings, you and your household, as Hashem your God has blessed you.
All right. Now, where does the Almighty cause his name to dwell? Yerushalayim, right? So these are talking about certain sacrifices that are supposed to be made in Jerusalem, right? Now, can we do sacrifices today? No. No, not at all. But according to the book of Hosea, the 14th chapter, 12 verse, it says, take words with you and return to Yah. Say to him, take away all my crookedness and accept what is good, and we render the bulls of our lips. So now we sacrifice based on what? Our lips, the prayer. Prayer is our new sacrifice. Okay, how we bring ourselves to the Creator. Morgan was always talking about prayer, how important it is, right? He prays at least twice a day, at least. More so, probably 3 to 4 times a day, or maybe more than that. Certainly on Shabbath, he definitely prays at least 3 times a day. All right, and he explains how important prayer is and how prayer changes you as an individual, how it breaks you down and makes you a better person. Can we agree to that? Hallelujah. All right. So at this juncture, we can't do sacrifices. So we pray, we meditate. We have conversations with the Almighty. We bring supplication of our lips onto the Creator. This is how we are supposed to do things. We're supposed to be better and do better. We're supposed to be the light unto the nations, but you can't do that when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. When you're making wrong choices versus good choices. When you're choosing to live according to the nations versus living according to Torah. Now, I was listening to Shema today, and Prince Nat's son, what's his name? Azia. How old is he? 11. Little man got up there and he was talking about leadership. But he was talking about leadership from a perspective of a child. Now watch this young man. I'm going to give you a quick little rundown. He was talking about how when you're at school, you got to be a leader to the peers that are at the school. Now mind you, this is an 11-year-old little boy who understands Torah to the best of his knowledge of what his parents and his grandfather and his uncles are teaching him, and all the other teachers at Shema. But he understands being different according to Torah and how it's going to make you a better person. So he went to the store with one of his friends from school. One of his school friends was going to steal a lollipop. And he turned around and told him, no, man, you shouldn't do that. Well, why not? I ain't got no money. We just don't do it. It's wrong. And the other boy, you're right, and they walked out. So this child understood leadership and understood, I have to take a role onto the nations. The people need to know the difference between right and wrong. The law was given to Israel, and us as Israelites have to be the ones to bear the good and the bad news that's going to come with it. We have to be the ones that show the nations, you know, this is how it is. We have to live this way. If there is no other way, you're going to perish. And funny thing is, reading this PARASHAT, I actually learned something that I'm going to actually bring forth that a little later. But we as people of Israel, people of the Almighty, we got to be better. We got to do better. We have to be the light unto the nations. We have to teach them the true way of life. Because if not, then they're going to perish, and we did not do our job. I was listening to David Banner once, and he was talking about success versus failure. Now, we look at people like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Do we consider them to be a success or failure? Watch. Exactly. And the reason why, because you died before you got your job done. There's only one person or one black individual in human history that actually succeeded on what she went out to do. Does anybody know who that is? Harriet Tubman. That's a fact. You know why? Because she actually lived after she performed her job. Everybody else was either killed or died miraculously, mysteriously before their job was done. So the fact of the matter is that we as Israelites, we have to finish our job. And we have to show the people how true the Almighty is, how his word is true, and how we're supposed to live our lives according to Torah and the traditions of our people. Hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
Go ahead and read that.
You should not go wrong.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
We shall not do like everything that we do here today. Rather, every man what is proper in his own eyes. Well, you will not.
Okay, now I want to expound on this real quick because this is imperative. Doing what is right in your own eyes. Okay, this is the reason why we need to come together as a people. You have too many chiefs and not enough Indians. You got too many teachers with their own perspective, but they're not adhering to the traditions that our people already led forth on record. So what ends up happening is you have people with their own interpretation, and they're leading other people to do things differently. Now, like I said, I'm not against midrash, and I'm not against what's the other one I'm talking? There's midrash and what's the other one?
You talking about halakha and agadah?
Thank you, my man. All right, I'm not opposed to agadah and halakha. I'm not. If it adheres to the Torah, I'm all about it. If I can read it in the Torah and I can see that they coincide with one another, I'm cool with that. If what you're telling me doesn't adhere to the Torah, you and I don't have nothing to talk about. And we as a people are doing right what is in our own eyes. We're doing our own interpretation. We're doing our own thing without proper understanding. And that's the reason why the scriptures tell us, before you get you some knowledge, get you some wisdom, get you some understanding. That's why you need elders who have the proper understanding and these things. People that have lived this way of life for a long time. So they can teach these younger generations, because if not, Torah is going to look totally different if we don't adhere to the understandings of our elders. Hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You said something very profound. You talked about Harriet Tubman, and it kind of started me thinking for a second. It's very interesting because what was the one thing that Harriet said that if you chose to go against what she was doing, or you chose to go back and flee and go back to the master's house, was the one thing that she was willing to kill you? Okay, it kind of reminds me of Joshua.
Yeah.
In a lot of examples, because in true liberation, in my opinion, if anything goes against that movement, we have to be willing to have a zeal for the cause, the creator, and get rid of anything that is standing in the way of progress. But modern day leadership, everything is so, well, you don't agree, you go about your way, I go about mine, we go hunky-dory and try to figure it out, we'll hopefully we'll get to the end. But to rule with an iron fist for the greater good of the people, sometimes it's needed. So I appreciate it. That was good.
Oh, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Go straight to verse 11. Oh, go ahead, I think.
I'm sorry. Okay, look. Sam, I agree with that. But I'm be honest and be real. In 2017, like I'm scared of leadership. You know what I'm saying? And this kind of goes into some of what we talked about last night. There's always the fear that leadership is in the hands of just one individual rather than a collective effort. So I agree with you, Sam. I just feel like there has to be a democratization of knowledge.
I agree to that.
So that all of us are working on the proper foundation. So, but I think that's very important because what's I'm saying, I'm not disagreeing with that. You know what I'm saying? I just feel that in order to stop the danger of tyrants and cult leaders and stuff like that, I feel that there needs to be a system of accountability with all leadership. You know what I'm saying? And that all leadership and the people need to be on the same page in terms of checks and balances,
yes,
and authority. So I guess that's just my one fear is that yes, that's true, but here but let's all come together and agree on certain things. I think that's one of the reasons why I think Shomrey is strong in terms of it allows a diverse body of opinions to coexist.
Absolutely.
Rather than just one leader murking people left and right. Go ahead.
No, I think it's relative to the time of what's going on. I firmly and wholeheartedly believe in democracy and elected officials and the people having rule as well as coexisting with leadership in hand. I agree with systems and structure in order to rule as a unit, as one solitary person. I agree with that wholeheartedly. My only point was the emphasis on the willingness to do what is needed to be done, right, in order to achieve the goal. Right. I think we're not misconstruing the two, and you can do both. Yeah. But I just think that the actions that were taken by said Joshua or said Harry Tubman, I think those actions were necessary for those times. And similarly today, those actions are necessary, but in the confines of a group, an organization, to make those choices instead of one person.
Right.
Like you said, I think it has to do with the time that's dealing with, right? Because if you said what Harry Tubman didn't democratize anything. Joshua didn't democratize anything. Joshua's word was what it was. And for that point in time, what Joshua experienced was Moses battling with other people as far as leadership. And when Joshua came into leadership, he seen that, you know what, I'm going to lead like this. And Joshua he went above Torah. He said, anyone who goes against my word shall die. Right. So we're talking about a group that went into the land based off of one person leading at an absolute thing. So I'm not saying that that's good for every situation. Right. But in our situation, black people, biggest problem is they don't have a leader. There is no leader to tell us anything. So what we do is we offshoot our beliefs and what we want into a projected ideal or concept of what we believe in. But in truth, there is nobody to lead the nation or tell them what they should be doing or to set a standard. Black people only function that way. That is the only way they function.
I can agree to that because of the fact that, all right, with us as a people, right, the Torah says appoint you judges, capable men, right? So that's a command, and that is for our court system. In some aspects, you need to have an individual who has a goal in mind for the people. And for the people that buy into the system that they're doing. And that's basically what we're talking about. We're talking about people that buy into a certain idea, all right, where it's not just one individual's leading the brigade, if you will. I mean, they can be, but we're talking about a person who's just leading the idea and people buying into the system, and then we all become equal opportunists of this idea. And that's I think what Javi was talking about is that, okay, if you have this idea and he buys it and I buy it and Moray and Mishare and Adon Mari and all the elders buy into this idea of going into the land and so on and so forth, then we as a collective people come and do this, even though you were the one that came up with the idea. You know what I mean? And based on the times of today, because obviously today we can't just off somebody for not adhering to what we're saying. But,
and I mean, I feel that the problem is definitely leadership, but I wouldn't say there's a problem with leadership. I feel that leadership itself and the emphasis on leadership is part of the problem. When you talk about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, one of the reasons why I thought they weren't successful is because these were personality cults. So with personality cults, you know, the vision always dies because the leader held control of everything. So when you look at most Hebrew Israelite communities, it's and I talk about these same ideas all the time. You guys know I talk about horizontal orientations of power versus vertical orientations of power, where you have hierarchical things where there's one person that rules everything, and that's always an issue to me. So Malcolm X and Martin Luther King dying and their goals not coming to fruition, or a lot of different goals not coming to fruition, is because too much power is in the hands of one individual rather than an empowered community. Now, I'm not saying there can't be leaders, but what I'm saying when I talk about democratization of knowledge, all I'm saying is that the entire people need to be empowered. Leadership should flow from the empowerment of the people rather than from a leader imposing ideas on the people. A leader should always be a reflection of the people. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not saying there shouldn't be any leaders.
And that's why Shomrey is the way it is.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's all.
All right, sir, last one.
I think what happened was that people, instead of buying into the ideology or the philosophy that is being taught, things there, they bought into a person. Just like in martial arts. If you look at martial sciences, any of us who have been studying and training for years, we're only training on something that has been passed down, has passed down, has passed down. So we didn't go into the system basically looking at the person per se. We've been in looking at the practices and the philosophies that agree with what it was that we wanted to learn. So therefore, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu started with the Gracie father, but he died, and then ideology was passed on. Now you have 20 different Gracies across the country teaching the same thing, and you have people buying into the same exact ideology and philosophy. And I think with leadership, the way to keep the ideology going, you have to have people that buy into that ideology and way of thinking, and not so much buy into the person. Therefore, I think it will become, progressive and successful.
Yeah. All right, I think let us start off at verse 11.
Hallelujah. It shall be that the place where Hashem your God will choose to rest his name, there shall you bring everything that I command you, your burnt offerings, your feast offerings, your tithes, and what you raise up with your hands. And the choices of the vow offering that will vow to Hashem. You shall rejoice before Hashem your God. You, your sons and your daughters, your slaves, your maidservants, and the Levite who is in your cities. For he has no share in the inheritance with you. Wherefore yourself, that you bring up your burnt offering in the place that you see, rather only in the place that Hashem will choose. Among one of your tribes, there shall you bring up a burnt offering. There shall you do all that I command you. However, when your soul's desire, you may slaughter and eat meat according to the blessing of Hashem. Your God will give you in all your cities. The contaminated ones and the pure ones may eat it, like the deer and the hart. But you shall not eat the blood. You shall pour it out to earth like waters.
Hold that up. Yeah. When I was reading this, I kind of got stumped because it says the contaminated one and the pure one. When we assume contamination, we assume unclean animals. But that's not what this is talking about. Yes, Prince.
Set of order. Bring
Then he said, choose able-bodied men. How these able-bodied men were chosen? They were born in their actions. Like, you got a little kid, you got him in your house. And he has certain relationship ability. In the ages that he grows in, he's going to be doing that same type of leadership, even then, unless he's trained to what the Torah and stuff was about. But first he had an order to keep things in check. We just got out for it. So the order was set up in such a mannerism that what he was doing was showing you how to lead and reason for leading. He had to be able to talk. Most people today, even like a lot of youngsters sometimes, don't want to hear from me out. Don't want to hear from the instructions. The elders would know, well, look, I've been around this amount of years. I lived this amount of years. I seen what happened then. I seen the works of the Most High. That was the vital thing first. And then he got to the age that he's at. Second thing was taking the able-bodied men. And they had to be retrained. But they knew who the able-bodied men were because they were being that since they were babies. And that's what we have to look at.
Oh, yeah.
Hallelujah.
All right. Back to what I was saying about eating meat and pouring out the blood. All right. Now, so like I said, I was stuck for a second, and I was because like I said, at times you hear contaminated meat and something. You would assume unclean animals, right? Okay. But it's not what it's talking about. What it's talking about is a pure animal that has a blemish to it. That's how it's contaminated. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as drinking the blood, we know we can't drink the blood because the blood is the what? It is the life, it's the nefesh. All right? But we also know that these were some of the practices of the foreigners they were doing. They were drinking blood. Why? Because they felt like if they drink this, they would inherit the power of these animals. You know what I mean? These are foreign practices that we don't adhere to. That's the reason why we start a certain kind of way. There's the reason why we have to do things in rank and file. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right. The rest of this is talking about where you are to do your slaughtering, so on and so forth. So I want you to go ahead and skip to verse 29.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Safeguard and hearken all the words I command you, in order that it be well with you and your children after you forever. And when you do what is good and right in the eyes of Hashem your God, when Hashem your God will cut down the nations to which you come to take possession for them before you, and you will take possession from them and settle in their lands. Beware for yourself, lest you be attracted after them, and after they have been destroyed before you, lest you seek out their gods, saying, how do these nations worship their gods? And even I will do the same. You shall not do so to Hashem your God, for everything that is an abomination of Hashem that he hates, have they done to their gods. For even their sons and their daughters have been burned in fire for their gods.
All right, hold that thought. The Almighty has a strong distaste for us worshiping him the way you worship these foreign deities. We have to be very, very careful on how we present ourselves to the Almighty. The last thing he said, they're talking about, well, how do we worship these people? How do we worship the Most High the way they worship their gods? And it says right here, he hates. He hates he hates for what they have done for their gods. For even their sons and their daughters have burned in the fire for their gods. The Almighty is 100% against child sacrifice. Human sacrifice, period. Thank you. This is not for me to step on anybody's toes, but this is the way it is. Tell me about it. This is the way it is. The Almighty is not about human sacrifice. If it shows in the Torah that he's not about human sacrifice, then there is no way. There is no way on his beautiful creation that he would allow somebody to die for you. I'm sorry. It's just not adhered to. I don't agree to it. I would never agree to it. And his word never comes back void, ever.
Hallelujah.
I'm sorry. Now, for the people that believe in this individual, by all means, I would pray that you would continue to keep reading. But the Torah is what reigns supreme. All right, that's why it's called the Tanakh and not something else. Torah first, Nevi'im or prophets after, and then Ketuvim writings thereafter. Everything goes in order. Torah always goes above all things. And if the Almighty says that you should not worship me the way they worship their other gods, and they were burning their children alive, then guess what? There is no way to please their gods. So we're going to put somebody on, we're going to put an individual somewhere so that we can be in right ruling with the Creator. Wrong. All right. So that's my little spiel when it comes to that particular portion of that verse. Go ahead.
And even Yeshua wasn't brought to the altar and sacrificed.
Exactly.
You know, on the Mizbeach.
So everything
that violates Torah right there. So
exactly. Everything has to be done in proper order. Yeah. For the people, and like I said, it's not to step on anybody's toes. If you want to have a conversation with me after, you can. But this is just where we stand at Shomrey HaTorah. We are a Torah-based community, and we continue in that way. We will go ahead and continue reading in chapter 13 and verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. The entire word that I command you, that you shall observe to do. You shall not add to it, neither shall you subtract from it. If there should stand up in the midst of you a prophet or a dreamer of a dream, he will produce to you a sign or a wonder. And the signs of the wonders come about, of which he spoke about, saying, let us follow gods of others that you did not know, and we shall worship them. Do not hearken to the words of that prophet, or to the dream of dreams. For Hashem your God is testing you to know whether you love Hashem your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Hashem your God shall you follow, and him shall you fear. His commandments you observe, and to his voice shall you hearken. I'm sorry. Him shall you serve, to him shall you cleave.
All right, hold that thought. Now, it says here, everything that I command you shall be careful. You shall neither add to it nor subtract from it. All right? And we have an understanding of false prophets. And we talked about this yesterday a little bit, and me and Nasa continue even into today. And this is my belief when it comes to prophets. Okay? If he says, thus saith the Most High, and he lines up with what he's saying, then I'll ride with you. I'll listen to you. I'll adhere. I'll even understand where you're coming from and be able to reason with you. But if you're telling me not to follow the law, statutes, commands of the Almighty, and to go serve other mighty ones, now obviously we can't do that. If we were in the land, we know what we would do. We show them some major love, and we'd stone them. And we can't do that now. All right, right. So at this juncture, we can cut them off mentally, spiritually. I can't mess with you, because you're not going to sit there and tell me that I cannot follow these law, statutes, and commands. You're not going to sit there and tell me that I don't have to. You're not going to, and you have a lot of Israelites that will tell you, well, we're not in the land. We're in the land of our captivity. We can't keep the law. The scripture tells us to keep the law in your dwellings. Well, guess what? I live here. And in the book of Jeremiah, it tells you what? To get you some property. He tells you to get married, raise children, and to follow what? The law. So you do it to the best of your ability. Yeah, we understand that there's certain things that we can't do. I get that part. But you're not going to sit there and tell me that I can't keep the law at all. For that, and for me, my brother, you got to go. You are a false prophet, and I can't route you. Hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
All right, continue.
And that prophet and that dreamer of a dream shall be put to death. We have spoken perversion against Hashem the God, who takes you out of the land of Egypt, who redeems you from the house of slavery, to make you straight from the path on which Hashem your God has commanded you to go. And you shall destroy the evil from your midst. If your brother, the son of your mother, or the son of your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or the friend who is like your own soul, will entice you secretly, saying, let us go and worship gods of others, that you did not know, you are your forefathers, from the gods of the peoples that are round about you, those near you, or those far from you, from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth. You shall exceed him and not hearken to the words. Your eyes shall not take pity on him. You shall not show compassion nor conceal him. Rather, you shall surely kill him. Your hand shall be first against him to kill him in the hand of the tired people afterwards. You shall pelt him with stone, and he shall die. For he sought to make you stray from near Hashem, your God, who took you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. All Israel shall hear and fear, and they shall not again do such an evil thing in your midst.
All right, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I'm going to freestyle this one. Now, we had the dreamer of dreams, which doesn't have an emotional connection to you. But now the next people are having an emotional attachment. You're talking about your brothers, even your wives. If they tell you to go ahead and go serve other mighty ones, the Almighty said, don't have pity on them. Don't show compassion to these people, but you shall surely kill them. Now, once again, if any of my wives tell me, man, we're not serving the Most High, we're going to serve this one, y'all got to go. That's just what it is. Nothing personal.
None taken.
But you got to go. Why? Because in my house, we shall serve the Lord. That's it.
Hallelujah.
I'm not going to adhere to anybody else except for the Almighty King of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Everybody else can get separate. I don't care what you think or what you believe. It doesn't bother me. And it doesn't make me want to show compassion. I had somebody who I was friends with for 10 years that I called my brother. The moment he told me he wasn't keeping law, I deleted everything that I knew about this individual. Everything off of social. No more Facebook, no more Snapchat, no more I don't have his number in my phone. You and I ain't got nothing to talk about. The moment you told me, well, we really can't keep the land, I really can't see if I'm really an Israelite or not, or whatever, partner, do you over there. But you will never be welcome in my home ever again. You and I cannot speak. Until you repent from your wickedness, you and I have nothing to talk about. Because the Almighty is what reigns in my house. Yeah. And everybody else, if you're not on board with the gravy train of Israel, guess what? Take the A train somewhere else. That's just where it's at. I'm not about all that other nonsense. Okay? Now, the one thing that I noticed about this passage, though, it adhered to your brothers, your sisters, your wives, possibly husbands, so on and so forth. But there was one group of people that it didn't talk about. And now she talked about this last one. I hope everybody paid attention. But that was your parents. Right. There is a big difference. See, now, if your parents ask you to go serve other mighty ones, and you're a child, what do you do?
Serve other mighty ones?
You're a child.
You won't know any better.
You don't. If we were in the land, you would go to your elders and you would tell them, hey man, I'm and Ema tripping. They're over here talking about serving Asherah and Balial and all these other people, and they're not talking about serving the Almighty. I'm diming them out. Hey man, I'm sorry, you're my father, and I love you and everything like that, but the Almighty has to come first, right? I mean, and the thing is, as a child, is a fine line of dishonoring your parent. But that's the reason why you can't stone them, because you still got to show honor to them. So I'm going to try to tell on you, and I'm going to be like, yo, Elder Yosef, man, my pops over there tripping. Go handle that. And Elder Yosef will have no problem going over there and handling business. I'm not going to be able to stone my parents, but guess what? That don't got nothing to do with y'all. Y'all don't come from my father.
Word.
I do. So I can't stone them, but the rest of y'all can. Hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
All right. Say that? Oh, okay. All right. Where was I at? Oh, continue reading, Matthew.
Hallelujah.
Oh, no. All right. Awesome. Go to chapter 14. Yo. You got a question? Go ahead.
I just had a statement. Me and my wife earlier, we were discussing that same concept of honoring your mother. And we had the same question. What do you do if your mother, your father tells you to do something or something that's against who you are? And I came up to the conclusion that, it says the word they use is kabod, or honor. And kabod means having a heavy weight. And so what I told her is that if you even consider what they said and you give a weight to their statement, you don't have to do what they said. But just the fact that you have the capacity to say, okay, I see what you're saying, I don't agree with what you're saying, but just the fact that you can have that dynamic in your mind is giving can be given honor, in my opinion.
Hallelujah. I like that.
You see what I'm saying? So I just want to bring that out because that was interesting.
I just want you to know.
I had an issue with.
I just want you to know, Shade, I'm still there.
We all still.
I'm still there. You know what I mean? I like that. Go ahead.
And I think it's one thing your parent telling you to steal a piece of, to steal some food to feed your family versus your parent telling you to, worship the idol. You know what I'm saying? Idolatry is always on you. You can't listen to anything idolatrous. So I think the weight of what your parent says has to be gauged in terms of their accordance with Torah. Like Austin said, rat them out. I'm sorry. The Almighty is bigger than my parents.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Start with chapter 14.
Hallelujah. Chapter 14. You are children to Hashem your God. You shall not cut yourselves, and you shall not make a bald spot between your head for a dead person. For you are holy people to Hashem your God, and Hashem has chosen you for himself to be a treasured people from among all the peoples of the face of the earth.
Hallelujah. Now, these are just talking about different practices of the Amorites. When they were mourning, they would shave and they would cut things off. They would pull their hair out of their skin or whatever to mourn for the dead. Unfortunately, most of us who came out of Christianity have cuttings and carvings in their skin. None of mine, actually one of them are, but for the memory of the dead. But these are things that the Almighty finds detestable. Now, how do we show to the Almighty now as us who are quote unquote awakening ourselves? What do we do now with what we already have?
Repent and let's do it again.
That's it. That's really all you can do. See, because I had a mindset at one time in my life that I was going to get all my tattoos removed. But that's still marking my body because you still see it. Even though you may not see the ink, you can still see the outline based on the bubble of your skin. So it kind of really makes no sense. And this is the reason why the Almighty told us that he would hate, or he would show, he would curse onto the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, and show loving kindness to those thousands of those who keep my commandments. Our generation from generation, the reason why I have tattoos is because people that I know from generations past, previous to me, had them, and they continue. Not one person. Now my son, I pray that he will never get them. Why? Because my children are, if I'm the first one to actually come to this way of life, then that means my children are second generation Hebrew Israelites. And I pray the Almighty shows them knowledge, wisdom, and understanding through me and through the rest of my elders and my family members. Because guess what? In my mind, one thing that I learned here at Shomrey is that we are all our children's parents. My son is not just my son. Okay? He's Nasi's son. He's Mora Gabriel's son. He's Mishare's son. He's Adon Mario's son. Elder Yosef is his granddad. You understand what I'm saying? Hagi boy, you're my son's father. You may not be his daddy. That's my job. But you're his father. You can show him right from wrong. And you can even chastise my child if I'm not present. Because that's what we do as a community. That's what we do as a family. And if we would have known, and if our fathers would have did what we're doing to our children, then this would never exist on us. So, in that being said, don't ever get a tattoo. Now see, I'll never see a tattoo on you. I'll get some markers for that. You had a question?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Go ahead, continue.
Hallelujah. You shall not eat any abomination. These are the animals that you may eat.
Oh, okay, hold on. I'm sorry. That verses 3 to 20 is all talking about what you can and cannot eat. We're not gonna go through all that. That's way too much. I'm sorry. Go straight to verse 21. Just read 21 for me.
Hallelujah. Verse 21. You shall not eat any carcass to the stranger who is in the cities. You shall give it to him, that he may eat it, or you sell it to a Gentile. For you are a holy people to Hashem. You shall not cook a kid in his mother's milk.
All right. Now, anybody who's ever heard me teach before have always heard me say that there is only but one law for the natural born of Israel and for the strangers that are certain among them. When I read this, again, because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care if you're a first generation, second generation, third generation. Every time you read the Torah, you learn something new. Something new comes to you. Okay? So when I read this one, and I've read Deuteronomy how many times, but this came to me like, oh, I'm always teaching people that you have strangers that are within your gates, they have to live like you. Right? Okay. So now I had an understanding, a further understanding of the difference between a ger, right? Thank you. I didn't understand this. And that's because of the fact of me not going into the language. But now that I'm diving into the language, now I have a better understanding of what is being spoken about. Now, a ger, so a goyim or a foreigner, and the other word, what was the other word? So, Toshav, right? So the difference is, right? Okay, the difference between one and the other is you have one that, like, let's say he's just a foreigner and he's doing business, so he's in passing. He's just coming through Israel. You can sell it to him, right? You can also have a foreigner that may be living in your house for a short period of time, and they say 2 weeks to do some work, and then they're leaving. You can give it to them. But then you have what the art scroll calls a proselyte, or someone who converts, like Ruth. Yeah. Ruth is a prostitute. She is one that denounced her way of life and her deities, her false deities, and she said to her mother-in-law, your people, my people. Your God, my God. That's the difference between the three. And I didn't realize that there was a difference. I thought there was just, you had the ones that convert, and then the ones that you just, go ahead.
Yeah, I just like to add. So a ger has to do a ger that eats of the Pesach, right?
Right.
The Passover offering. He has to do milah. You know, he has to circumcise himself, and he has to accept the entire Torah.
Right.
Right. A ger koshav doesn't need to circumcise himself. He doesn't need to accept the entire Torah. All he needs to do is not worship any other gods in the land.
Right.
He doesn't. Yeah, while he's in the land, and he doesn't even need to keep Shabbath.
Right.
He just can't desecrate the Shabbath. He can't cause others to desecrate the Shabbath.
But
that's the difference between,
Right, I'm sorry. Which would adhere them to adhere to the Noahide laws.
Yeah, so he would deal with all the laws. He would deal with like 3 of the commandments. He needs to recognize that there's no idolatry. You can't make 7 of the commandments, but 3 that he doesn't need to adhere to, like the Shabbat, you know, stuff like that. But he can't steal. He has to be part of the Israelite court system. You know what I'm saying? But even once he leaves the land, it's contingent upon him. If he comes into the land, he has to accept we call it the 7 laws of Noah. Basically, not stealing, not killing, blah, 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 blah. But even when he leaves the land, he can't revert back to his goyim status. Or I'm saying, if this is in the time of Moshiach, Israel actually has authority to kill him next time he comes into the land. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but that's the difference between a ger koshav versus a ger. A ger is us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If he accepts the entire Torah and he circumcises himself, he's Israel.
Right.
That could be a native born.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Ger is us.
Yeah.
Well, we're considered as so a native born is what you know, a native born. So that's someone who was born as an Israelite. That's someone who was born an Israelite, circumcised on the 8th day, what have you. But yeah, Ger wasn't necessarily born an Israelite. You know, he was naturalized. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah.
All right. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Continue.
Hallelujah. You shall tithe the entire crop of your planting, the produce of your field, year by year. And you shall eat before Hashem your God in a place that he will choose to rest his name there. The type of your grain, your wine, your oil, and the firstborn of cattle and your flocks, so that you will learn to fear the Hashem your God all the days. If the road will be too long for you, so that you cannot carry it, because the place that Hashem will choose in the place his name there is too far for Hashem your God will be blessed with you. Then you may exchange it for money. Wrap up the money in your hand and go to the place Hashem your God will choose. You may spend the money for whatever your soul desires, for cattle, for flock, for wine, for alcoholic beverages, and anything that your soul wishes. You shall eat it there before Hashem your God and rejoice, you and your household. You shall not forsake the Levites who is in your city, for he has no portion or inheritance for you. At the end of 3 years, you shall take out every type of your crop in that year, and set it down between the cities. Then the Levite can come, for he has no portion or inheritance, and the proselyte, and the orphan, and the widow, who are in your cities, so they can eat and be satisfied, in order that Hashem your God will bless you in all your handiwork you may undertake.
All right, hallelujah. All right, so can tithe be money?
It can.
It can.
As a last resort.
All right. Now, can tithe be money today? Absolutely. Absolutely it can. People, once again, like Morgan was always talking about when it comes to religion, people are afraid because of religion. Not because they don't understand Torah. They're afraid because of what is being done in other type of organizations. They're being done for their own personal benefit. And like, okay, for example, Creflo Dollar. Does he need a $60 million Learjet? No. Oh, so here's the second one?
Yeah, he wants another one.
Okay, all right. So he has, okay. Now, but now you understand, right? Now, what if he does need, he has one. Why does he need a second one? He has one. Why does he need another one?
For his wife.
Can I say something? Now, somebody taught me a lesson.
Let's get it.
All right. I had the blessing of Rob Zuridan coming to my house, right?
Okay.
And Rob Zuridan is one of the brothers who helped in investing into the land. And Rob Zuridan drives a Bentley.
He sure does.
And he said, I don't drive a Bentley because I want a Bentley. He said, I drive it because that's what people respect. He said, and people will listen to me now because I have this. And the truth is, and there's a thin line because it has to be some aspect of balance. When you look at Aharon came with the flyest garment on the planet.
Okay.
He didn't need that. But that's what the people at that time respected. Okay. They respected that. So if this is what, and then the people that are supporting him, they obviously want him to have this stuff because they respect it. So you have a lot of preachers that teach prosperity. So if you're teaching if you're having a prosperity teaching, you need to look extremely prosperous in order for the people that's following you to continue. So when I went through a stage in life, when I first started, I used to wear, when I was young, I used to wear jeans. My jeans had to be $120 something. My shirt had to be $200. I would not wear it. I would not wear it at all. My wife would tell you, people come to my house to borrow my clothes just to go out to the club. And so they can feel like they're somebody. But then when I became super religious and spiritual, I started going to Walmart, started getting t-shirts, started looking at stuff. But then at the same time, some people are not respecting this transition. So in it has to be a perfect blend of both. So it's not knocking what you're saying, but at the same time, there is a group of people that want to see Israel and they want to see what they ideally think as prosperity.
Okay.
All right, and I can agree to that.
I can get
that.
Why?
But I completely agree wholeheartedly because the fact of the matter is this. All right, the intent of why you need these things is what makes the difference for me. Right, the intent. If your intent is to better the people, now I'm going to say this. Right, I was going to be a pastor once. Okay, so. What ended up happening is, like, if it doesn't benefit the community, that pastor wasn't winning, right? So when we came with one individual, all we need is prayer. My man told us, well, your conviction is not my conviction. So you want to pray for him, you pray for him. And I'm like, all right, man, but this kid has leukemia, man. We're just asking for prayer. We're not asking for donations. But you understand why people can turn around and feel sickening to certain organizations.
Okay.
And this is the reason why. So when you have people who wake up and be like, oh my gosh, I'm an Israelite. And then you have these Facebook scholars and Facebook prophets, thank you, Alan, right? You have people that are, tithe was only grain and offering and agricultural goods. Yeah, that's true. But it was also money. You can give. Now, when you talk about prosperity, then I would have to agree to what you talk about with that horizontal position of power. Because the land should look fly. Everybody's crib should look fly. And that's just me because I want us all to prosper. And I want us all to be on the same page. I don't really believe in my heart of hearts that you as a leader, or you as a leader, or you as a leader, your crib should look better than mine just because you happen to be the leader. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. What I'm saying is that us as a nation, we should all be looking fly together. Can we agree? Yeah. Okay. And that's the thing. So based on intent, I'm not knocking, because guess what? I used to watch Preachers of LA. And I heard one of them cats said, yo, Jay-Z making millions of dollars and he ain't doing nothing for the people. And I'm teaching y'all the Bible. I should be taking care of the same one. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, makes sense. Yeah. But the intent, his intent is not about teaching the people. He's telling people that, but in actuality, bro, he really doesn't care about the people. Because if he did, when you have certain individuals in your congregation that come to you, because understand that the tithe was supposed to be for the people. It was supposed to be for the building. It wasn't supposed to be for the pastor only. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that the pastor should not be taken care of, because, like, you teach here every single week. Elder Joseph lives in meager accommodations. That shouldn't be like that. We should all be able to come together so that the leaders of the congregation, myself, you, Maury Gabriel, Misha Yosef, we shouldn't have to work. Why? Because we have to teach every week. We should be able to have that ability to be able to stay home and study this Torah every day, so that when it's time for us to make right ruling, we have the best understanding of the book to be able to give that. But it's hard to do that when you're working 12 hours a day. And I'm working 10 or 12 hours a day. And Maury Gay was working 10 hours a day. Haji Boy is working 12 hours a day. Misha Yosef is working 12 hours a day. It's hard to do that. So in some aspects, you're 100% right. The money should be used to take care of the leaders of the congregation and the elders, because that's what it says right here. But when the intent is for all the wrong reasons, and you turn around and say, well, look, man, I'm living loving. I don't know about you. Then that's when it becomes a problem. And that's when the intent is evil in the heart. And I have a big, strong distaste, because that was done to me.
But that was because of your voluntary action, bro. If somebody's teaching you, like, everything has to be according to a paradigm, and I agree with what you're saying. But look at Solomon. Solomon had the wealthiest stuff on the planet, was the richest man on the. Was it all given to the community and the people? No, actually, Solomon hoarded a lot of stuff because the people wanted it. It was the mindset of the people. God said, if you want a king, the king is going to take 10% from you. He's going to take your daughters. He's going to take this. He's going to take that. And people said, they looked around each other and said, okay, I want that. Give me that. Okay. So psychologically, the people answer to this. I'm not saying whether it's right. You're saying some stuff that's right? But what I'm saying is there's a thin line between right and wrong and the right action. You have to deal according to your action, according to where the people are at. Like, we can spill all the deepest information off the beam that is real deep, but if it's over people's head, then it's wrong, even if it's right. Okay. So now, and where the people are at, these people want a champion. The perfect thing, these people want a champion, right? So they want the champion. Creflo Dollar is their champion. They want him, when he go out there and he look like this, and he represents their church. Their church is going to send the best, the flyest thing out there, and that's just how we are in our herd-like mentality in order to do it. So I'm saying you're right, but to understand that if we think, like, perfect example, people say, like, the whole argument between Korah and Moses. Now, in a lot of midrash, which might not be actually right, Korah was rich. Korah's argument was because he was wealthy, and so because he was wealthy and he invested and had so much investment, he looked down on Moses because Moses was poor. Okay. So in the argument, the Almighty may have perceived that, hey, there's something our people need, because these people are only answering to the wealthiness. Like, when people paid the golden calf, they gave all their gold in order to pay homage to something that doesn't even exist. So people will give in this aspect. So I understand I definitely agree with what you're saying, but the truth is people are in a psychological position that you have to administer them as far as where they're at in transition.
I think both of y'all are saying the same thing. Like, I mean, just approaching the same sea from different shore, or the same island from different shores, I guess. But yeah, it's like what you call it? I think with Solomon, what you're saying is true. With Creflo Dollar, what you're saying is true. I mean, people want the dragon slayer, you know, and the function of leadership is predicated on the will of the people. So it's the job of the leader. You know, this is why Talmud says leadership is a state of abud. It's a state of servitude, actually, because your power as a leader is legitimate according to the will of the people. So that's why we honor the President of the United States. For all the Americans. It is because the president it's the job of the president of the United States to set the agenda, negotiate, to destroy. And the time of Solomon's leadership, as Nasi was saying, Israel was in one of the only times in Israel's history. There was only two stages of Malkuth where Israel was unified and stable, right?
Yeah.
In the time of Dawid, right, and in the time of Solomon. We do not have a good track record. You know what I'm saying? And we really don't have a lot to look back on. There's not a lot to be proud of when it comes to Israelites, to Israel, except the Torah. You know what I'm saying? Which changed the entire world. Changed the world. The Torah. Not King Solomon. But anyway, King Solomon was exalted because Israel was in one of its most prosperous times. So the community is only as strong as the weakest link. And I think that's kind of what both of y'all are saying. You know what I'm saying? In order for a strong community to exist, you know what I'm saying, we do have to take care of the weak in the community, but we do have to have a leader that's going to represent us and not get laughed at. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think y'all are basically saying the same thing, but it has to be within context of communal power, communal strength.
Absolutely. And I feel like us as Shomrey, what we represent is that communal power and that communal strength. We, when we ask for donations and obligations and tithes, is not because we're trying to use it to pay our rent. I have a job, I pay my own rent, but we have rent to pay here. And we have a building, we have a community. And not only that, but we also have a responsibility to the people. In order to keep these doors open, you need money for that. And when this is mainly not for the people that are here, because you guys are always here, but for the people that are online listening, this is in understanding where we stand. We don't, I'm the treasurer, and I handle all the money. And I have never paid my rent with this money. I've never paid Nasi's rent. I've never paid Gabriel's rent. I've never paid Joseph's rent. I've never paid anybody's rent except for Shomrey, this building. And we will continue to keep doing that until hopefully everything works out according to the Almighty's will. In a few months, we will be out in the land and we will not have to pay nobody no rent except for ourselves. So with that being said, we're going to continue. We don't have to read anymore. I'm just going to expound on a couple of things. In chapter 15, verse 1, it talks about the 7-year release. And I want to talk about the difference between slavery a little bit. I went into it a little earlier, but I'm going to just continue to expound about it. You know what I mean? Slavery back then versus slavery today. And have an understanding of the 7-year release. And one thing that slave owners back then didn't read. This is the part of the Bible that they left out. Because they would read to their slaves the part of the Bible about being a slave and how it was okay. But they never turned around and continued the verse where it said the 7-year release, where you let that slave go. They won't do that because it doesn't help them and it doesn't benefit their agenda for white supremacy, right? Western imperialism and Western colonialism. It just doesn't do that for them. At this juncture, they've 86'd their influence physically from away from us. And now their influence is psychological. As long as you continue to have slavery in your mind, you will always be a slave. The moment that you take slavery out of your mind, the moment you will truly be free. And the only true freedom comes from two places. Torah, and Malcolm X said the other one. Death. That's the truth. Because if you're not alive, then you no longer adhere to the what? Slavery of the world. Now you're truly free. But this book allows us to be free if we choose. Once again, back to the topic of discussion of my lesson, which was choice. You choose. It's up to you. You can choose to be a slave if you want to, or you can choose to be free. I choose freedom. Who's with me? Freedom. All right. Lastly, chapter 16, it talks about the 3 feasts that are in Jerusalem: Passover, Matzot, and Sukkot. And that is my lesson. I hope that you were able to get some good information out of it. And I want everybody to know that I know that there was a time where Shomrey, it seemed like we were high in numbers and now we're dwindling. I don't look at it as a negative. We're just weeding out the people that really wasn't with us.
Okay.
Because the people that are here today, they're the ones that are ride with us to the end.
So the wheels
fall. You know what I mean? So the wheels fall off. And everybody in this room has a mindset of freedom, of the word that you're always using, Liberation. Everybody has a liberal mind. They want to get liberated. They want to be free. They want to be free from the shackles of this society. But you have a choice to make. You have a choice between life and death, or freedom and captivity. Because at this juncture, captivity is in your mind. It's not physical anymore. Because every last one of us has the ability to get in our car and go home when we feel like it. So I'm going to choose freedom, and I pray to the Almighty that y'all come along with me, because I was free.
Right behind you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Blessed and awesome teaching, awesome lesson. I pray that we got something out of it. And I like the fact that we have interaction. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that because there's people with ideas and views that we can express and share together. So the Almighty is definitely beautiful, and I like all the points that he touched. And I hope that we all take from the lesson and try to do something better with our lives. Hallelujah.
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 Let us all rise and face the east.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Heavenly Father, God, we come to this afternoon giving you all honor, glory, and praise, our Heavenly King. Thank you, Most High, for allowing us to come together on this Sabbath day, our Heavenly Father. For allowing us to have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, to be able to bring your name to fruition, our Heavenly Father, to bring your name out to the people, to show how beautiful your name is, and how you reign above all things, our Heavenly Father, how you are the owner and maker and possessor of all things, our Heavenly King, how you are a rock and our redeemer, our Heavenly Father, for whom we take refuge in, our Heavenly Father. And we lay all our things at your feet, our Heavenly Father. All our mundane problems, our Heavenly Father, we lean upon you, our Heavenly Father. We know that you will always be there and guide us, shield, and protect us, our Heavenly King. We thank you for all things, for allowing us to have mercy and grace upon us, our Heavenly Father. For allowing us to even have a relationship with you, our Heavenly King. You are our Father, you are our Savior, you are all to us, our Heavenly Father. We are nothing without you, our Heavenly King. And we ask that you allow Shomrey, our Heavenly Father, and Shemaiah to be the pillars of the community, our Heavenly King, to bring your name on high, our Heavenly Father, and allow us to be the pillars of the community. Allow us to show the people so that we can be that light upon the nations, our Heavenly King. Allow us to make those proper choices that we need, our Heavenly Father, so that we choose life, our Heavenly King, and not to choose death, our Heavenly Father. But let your Torah be inscribed in the tablet of our heart, as it says in Jeremiah 31, our Heavenly Father. Let all things be done according to your divine will, our Heavenly King. And we thank you for allowing us to have the ability to be able to have a holy convocation unto your holy name, our Heavenly King. We thank you, Heavenly Father. We thank you for showing mercy, kindness, and love. Allow us to have our past laid out for us, Heavenly King, and allow us to walk that straight path, our Heavenly Father. And with these things, our Heavenly Father, we praise in your mighty name. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Lay that song. Give refuge. Where they leaving. Shema Yisrael, Yahovah Eloheinu, Yahovah Echad, Baruch Shem Kevo, Maruto Nehomayeh. Hear, O Israel, the Most High power, the Most High is one. And blessed be the name of his glorious kingdom forever and ever. Wake, O Yisrael.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We pay
To the power of Abraham.
to the power of Abraham,
To the power of Yitzchak.
to the power of Yitzchak,
And the power of Israel.
to the power of Israel.
Hallelujah.
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 Praise the mighty Yah.
Praise mighty Yah.
Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Donations and obligations for the nation. See Sarah Asa and those online. You can click on and give a donation through PayPal. We ask that, because we know this is our last month in this building, it doesn't mean we don't need our donations and obligations. One of the biggest problems about us moving or going into a transitional stage is people only give donations when they see a shelter over their head. So we have to still be mindful that we're still paying for something, purchasing something, or trying to acquire something. So let's all work together. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen.